Hello, everyone. My name is Ann Perry, and I'm the Area Director for AFSP Michigan. And we're really excited to be here tonight to do something a little different that we haven't done before. We wanted to, because this week is Volunteer Appreciation Week, and hopefully you've seen some of our posts that we've been sharing on social media, raining down some love on our various volunteers. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to really meet the amazing people that are our AFSP Michigan Board of Directors. These dedicated humans give so much of themselves to this cause. They have found ways to channel their grief and turn it into action and take their own stories and use that to empower and lift up others. And we are so very grateful for all that they do. So with that being said, I am going to turn the camera over to our wonderful board who we have here tonight with us. And I encourage you to, if you're watching this live, to leave a comment, whether it's a message of encouragement maybe, or to our board and to any of our AFSP Michigan volunteers, actually, because we're going to dive a little bit more into that later. But whether it's a question or just a hello, please leave us a message and interact with us in that way tonight. So I'm going to pass it over to our board chair, Corbin.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Corbin Stanley. I serve as chairman of the board of directors for AFSP Michigan, and I have been in that role for 2 years, going into my third year in the next few months. And I'm really happy to help lead this team with Ann and this whole board and help to advance our mission in the state of Michigan. I lost my brother to suicide in 2010, and that's how I came to AFSP. I'm originally from Utah and got involved in the Salt Lake City Out of the Darkness Walk there in 2012, and quickly became a volunteer, brought an Out of the Darkness campus walk to my undergraduate university, and joined the board in Utah and moved out here to pursue my graduate education. And so in addition to my role as board chair, I'm also a PhD candidate and researcher at Michigan State, and my research focuses on suicide prevention. So this is something that means a lot to me and encompasses a lot of my personal, professional, and academic lives. And volunteering with AFSP has been a great way for me to channel my loss into action, both in terms of research and in terms of volunteering and advocacy as well. So thank you all for being here, and I'll turn it over to Reed.
Hi, everyone. My name is Reed Dapowski. I'm president of our Michigan Board of Directors. Got involved with AFSP after losing my mom, Debbie, to suicide in May of 2014. And then I also did lose my cousin, Evan, to suicide in September of 2016. In addition to serving on the board, I am also a clinical mental health therapist. And like Corbin, early in my journey with AFSP, I founded a campus walk. I started the University of Michigan campus walk and have only grown to love AFSP more and more over the years. Personally, I volunteer because I'm passionate about mental health, both in my personal and professional life. I believe in the power of the education that we provide at AFSP to increase awareness about suicide and to save lives, and also to share the meaningful sense of community that we've formed to support more survivors of suicide loss like myself. I'm really proud to serve on our Loss and Healing Committee, so I'm able to connect with survivors of suicide loss and support those who are grieving, both in my work as a therapist and with our board. I'm so honored to serve and to be with you all tonight. Thank you for watching.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Adams, and I am the treasurer for the board of directors here in Michigan for AFSP. I've been with AFSP since 2014. I lost my 18-year-old son, Morgan, in 2012 to suicide. And I found that was something that really, I had to transform my loss. And I found AFSP to be the perfect channel for that and to be able to help so many people. I work at a all-boys school in the city of Detroit, and so I've been able to use the talents or the education I've learned at AFSP there as well to hopefully help educate the young men in our school too. I'm also involved in the public policy committee for AFSP and have done a lot of advocacy work on Capitol Hill as well as in Lansing.
And I am back because I am going to be talking about our board secretary, Vicki Maneri, this evening. Vicki is not able to be with us. Vicki came to us because she lost her father, but Vicki herself also struggles. She is very open about her mental health journey. And unfortunately, right now, she is in a place where she needs to be dealing with that. She has suffered a relapse when it comes to her mental health. But she is a warrior and she is incredibly strong. And part of her sharing her story, what makes that so powerful is the raw and honest way in which she does that and opens herself up. And by doing so, she encourages so many others to seek help when they might not have done that. So we are just, we're so appreciative for all that Vicki does, and we just adore her. So we are sending her all of the good love, good juju, good health that we can. We know that she will be back with us in full force. So if you ever get a chance to hear Vicki speak, I recommend that you do so. We love you, Vicki.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ryan Duffy, and I joined the board in 2018, and I volunteer on the communications committee. And so I first came to know AFSP after losing my sister, Caitlin, to suicide in 2013. When she was just 23 years old. She's the youngest of my siblings, the youngest of 6 kids in my family. And she was just a great, bright light of a person. Now, you know, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of general broad reasons, but I guess just personally, I now have a daughter who's 2.5, Violet, and I have another daughter on the way. And really, I want them, when they go off and go out in the world and you know, go to high school and are out in the community, I just want it to be a better place, a better community when it comes to suicide and education and prevention. And I want it to be a place where we're having more conversations about suicide. And so that's really why I volunteer.
Hey everyone, I am Lisa Matley. I am also on the Michigan Board of Directors as the Education and Programming Committee Chair and Community Engagement Chair. I've been on the board for just over a year and a half now. I discovered AFSP through a Google search back in 2012. I lost my brother Jim to suicide in 2010. And after a couple of years, decided it was time that I needed to do something. And this has been such a incredibly healing journey with my AFSP family. I started in my first community walk in 2012, and I currently co-chair the Oakland Rochester Macomb Walk. This, I think, is my 6th year co-chairing that walk as well. And I'm just, you know, when you're thrown into this tragedy, you become very passionate about prevention, about education, about saving lives, about being a voice, about being an advocate. And, you know, trying to sum up why I do what I do, that is probably it. I just want to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves, and to let people know that mental health is just as important as physical health, and to end this stigma. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it over now to Sarah and Ann.
All right. So this is Corbin. Sarah recently had a tonsillectomy, and so she is unable to speak today, but I'll be sort of reading her bio. Sarah's been involved with AFSP Michigan for the better part of 10 years and has been volunteering for the past 5 and has brought such a sense of purpose to her life. It started with serving on the planning committee for the Metro Detroit Walk, then taking over as the chair, and then joining our board of directors. She struggled with her own mental illness throughout her entire life, and AFSP has helped to give her the tools to be able to not only talk about mental health, but also be able to stand up and say, yes, this is me, this is my truth, and I am not alone. When she started as just volunteering with a great organization, that has now become so much more. It's like a sense of family surrounded by support, love, and encouragement in this journey. In volunteering, she's learned that this organization isn't just for those individuals who have suffered a loss, but also for those who struggle themselves. And in sharing her story, her hope is to show others that they're not alone and that that together we can all stop suicide and have these important conversations. So,
Hello again, this is Reed. I am going to be representing Caroline today as she was unable to be with us. These are the really amazing roles that Caroline holds, and what she wanted to share today, Caroline's words are, I have struggled with mental illness my whole life, and after my best friend attempted suicide in high school, I knew I wanted to get involved and help raise awareness. I've been volunteering with AFSP for about 5 years now, starting with the University of Michigan Campus Walk, and now for the State of Michigan chapter as the volunteer coordinator. Volunteering with AFSP has given me a community of amazing people who know that it's smart to talk about your mental health, and it has enabled me to learn skills and resources that can save lives. Overall, my time with AFSP has been an incredible experience, and I'm so excited for all of the volunteering yet to come. I met Caroline at our University of Michigan Campus Walk Planning Committee. Caroline is an amazing human being. She has a fire and a passion within her to educate our communities, and she really puts our work into action. And I'm really happy to work with her so closely as our volunteer coordinator, as she and I work to make sure that everyone who enters our chapter, either as a ground level volunteer all the way up to a board member, feels known, seen, supported, and knows that they have a safe community to work with and really form a family with.
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz. I am a board member. I serve on our Loss and Healing Committee as well as the Silver Committee. I experienced a suicide loss in 2014. I lost one of my very good friends, and I was just 17 years old at the time, so it was completely unknown to me. I didn't know of any resources or anything along those lines. So I just kind of floundered after his loss, and I actually stumbled across an Out of the Darkness walk at Sharp Park in Lansing, and that's where I met Vicki, and her and I just meshed together, and I just started learning from her and doing different things. I joined the walk committee in 2015 and was just kind of getting to know things. I then decided that I wanted to help co-chair, so I chaired with Vicki for a few years, and then also had a few other experiences as far as chairing an event. And then this year I am chairing the Lansing Out of the Darkness Walk. So this will be the first event that I'm chairing. But we have an amazing committee, and I'm super excited to be able to do this work and bring these resources to people, because I truly believe in our mission to bring hope to those affected by suicide. And this organization has not only, taught me all kinds of different life-saving measures, but it's saved my life in the same aspect, because I knew how to reach out for those resources and things like that. After a struggle with my own depression, I was hospitalized in 2017. And from that, I began a support group for those who have lost a loved one to suicide in the Lansing area. And that's been meeting for about 3 years now. So it's just, being able to take my experience, just like all of these amazing humans that you've heard from tonight, and turn it into something so meaningful to help other people has been exactly why I do the work that we do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Johnson. This is my first time on, this is my first meeting, actually. I'm on the board of directors for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and I am so glad and excited to speak to all of you and to introduce myself to you. I lost my godfather in 1987. We were very close. Our families were very close. He's known me since I was a baby, and when you lose someone when you're 17 years old, it's very difficult. And when you lose someone and you're a person of color, it's very, very difficult, because in a lot of times in the Black community, we don't talk about suicide. We just push it off to the side. We don't discuss it. We don't talk about it at all, and it makes it so it's very challenging. Now, mind you, that was in 1987, and now it's 2021. I did not reach out to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention until 2020, and it was a blessing for me, because in doing so, I was calling myself trying to help students, because I also serve on the board of directors for another organization with Michigan PTA, and I thought I was helping with the students and didn't realize how much it was helping me. And so this journey has been almost 30 years in the making, but it's something that I cherish. It's something that I really strongly support. And I'm on the DEI committee. That's what I do with my professional life. And it's my goal and my mission to be able to share with everyone who is people of color in particular, that it's okay to talk about suicide. If you need help, if you're struggling, reach out, talk to someone, call AFSP Michigan. We're here to help you. We're here to assist. And that is why I do what I do, and why I adore my AFSP family. And thank you for being here.
All right, I love it. And what a first meeting for you, Jennifer. This is what you're thrown into. But as you can see, all of our board members bring a little bit something different to the table. And one thing I kind of want to touch on some of our other volunteers in the chapter. So a lot of you mentioned that you came to us, like many people do, by way of our walks. So I kind of wanted to throw a question out to you, if you want to share some type of experience that you had, whether it was something you remember from the first walk you attended or even a recent one. I would love to hear some from that and what your experience was like, even engaging with those volunteers. The work that goes into those walks, it's quite incredible. Anybody?
Okay, I'll go. So my first walk was at a small park out near in St. Clair County, and I didn't know what to expect. Had no idea what I was in for. And I shared this the other night in a meeting. Just the fact, it was very low key. There weren't a lot of bells and whistles at the walk, but the fact that there were all of these other people present who could relate to the type of loss that I had experienced, was that in and of itself was incredibly healing, because I have found in my journey that many people can't really relate to that type of grief unless they've experienced that type of grief. So that began my healing journey. Just the fact that I was on a walking path with all of these people who could relate to me.
I love it. And a huge thank you again to all of our walk chairs, those that serve on our walk committees, everyone that volunteers the day of. There are so many people that come just the day of and give so much of themselves. And that goes to both our community walks, which are held in the fall, and as well as to our campus walk committees. So again, thank you so much for all that you do. Kind of on the flip side, a totally different kind of volunteer, and one that we don't often hear quite as much about, or you might not engage with as much, are field advocates. And who better to talk about advocacy in Michigan than Corbin? Corbin, do you want to kind of talk about the power behind advocacy and what our field advocates have been able to do?
Sure. So, our field advocates are public policy volunteers, and we have almost 1,000 field advocates in Michigan. And so I encourage you to go to afsp.org/advocate and sign up as a field advocate. We're really hoping to get to 1,000 soon. But our advocacy volunteers help us to advocate for our public policy priorities, both here at the state level and at the federal level. So in the last 18 months, we've seen 3 major pieces of legislation passed in Michigan, again, just in the last 18 months alone. And we've made some significant progress in Michigan, including the establishment of the State Suicide Prevention Commission, the passage of the Save Our Students Act, and the establishment of the Michigan Cares hotline that was passed in the last 3 years. And so our field advocates make a huge difference by using their stories to advocate for policy change. There's a lot more work to do here in Michigan and at the federal level, but we are always looking for more volunteers who are willing to share their stories and engage in the policy and legislative process to help save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide. So again, you can go to afsp.org/advocate to learn more and to sign up as a field advocate.
Thank you, Corbin. Yes, and they make it so easy. So I definitely recommend, if you're not already signed up, please do so. And now I kind of want to touch really quickly about our loss and healing volunteers. We know that this is such an important part of that healing piece for people who are in all stages of their grief. So I'm going to ask Liz first, if you can, as the Healing Conversations Coordinator and Loss and Healing Chair for Michigan, can you kind of touch on what Healing Conversations even is and what those volunteers do and how important that work is?
Yeah, so I actually, that was kind of my big step as far as going from walk volunteer to getting more involved in the loss and healing portion of things. I would say that that's my niche, so to speak, being able to connect with people who have experienced the loss, anywhere from, days after a loss to, years out after their loss, and being able to, really connect with people and support them through that. So our loss and healing program is a really cool setup that we have. We have our Healing Conversations program where people can request contact from a lost survivor, and they will get in touch with somebody. We were doing in person, obviously with COVID, that's changed things. So it's usually a phone conversation with somebody who has experienced a similar loss, and can, kind of answer questions and help you kind of understand all of the things that come right after a suicide loss, the different waves of emotions and that type of stuff. So I truly, truly appreciate any of our Healing Conversations volunteers. You guys are amazing. And I know that that's not an easy task to, have somebody ask you from time to time to reach out to people who are especially very new in their loss. I've had some really difficult conversations with people, but the feeling that you get from knowing that you have helped someone understand their journey and, maybe help turn them on to some resources and things like that, because a lot of people don't know what resources are out there. So I'm super thankful for all of the people that we have in that program to help bring support to our survivors.
Yes, thank you to all of our Healing Conversations coordinators. It's such an important piece of our work. And Reed, also serving on our Loss and Healing Committee, do you want to rain some love on our ISOSL Day coordinators and maybe talk about our support group facilitators as well?
Yes, absolutely. So for those who are not familiar, ISOSL is International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day. These are really powerful, meaningful events for survivors of suicide loss to come together and learn and heal with one another. As Lisa said earlier, surviving a suicide loss is unlike any other loss that you can experience. Our grief is unique, and we need unique spaces for us to connect with one another and heal. Grief is something meant to be shared with one another, not something meant to stay inside. And with the stigma surrounding suicide that AFSP is working so hard to dismantle, creating this intentional space for us to know one another and heal with one another is so important. So our Survivor Day coordinators, we are so thankful for what you do every year. Stay tuned for other survivor-centered events other than just ISOSL Day that will be coming soon. But then we also have our support group facilitators. And again, these hold monthly spaces, right, for survivors to connect with one another and share their stories and process their feelings. Those spaces are also so incredibly important. And I attend one myself. It has been instrumental in my healing process. So to all of our volunteers and connections within Loss and Healing, thank you so much for transforming your pain and your loss into something so incredibly moving.
All right, thank you, Liz, and thank you, Reed, for that. Lisa, I'm going to throw it over to you really quickly to talk about our programming work as our programming and education chair. So much of what we do is education and is providing people with the right tools to prevent suicide. It's so, we know that that's just so important to reach out into our communities. So do you and I have to give a shout out to every single face that you see on the screen. All of our board members regularly deliver all of our programming throughout the state. One good tool that we added to our toolbox in 2020 was learning how to adapt and present virtually, so we're reaching even more people. But So from me to you on the screen, thank you all for presenting and doing what you do.
Yes, yes. And we are still continuing to present virtually. Please check our events page on Facebook. We're constantly updating that with programming. Our free programming includes Talk Saves Lives. You can pretty much bet that you'll be able to join one of those at least monthly. Talk Saves Lives is our most popular community-based presentation, and it gives an introduction to suicide prevention and covers a general scope of suicide research and what people can do to help fight suicide. And I think we're up to 5 different modules right now. Is that correct? So we've got the standard LGBTQ+, firearm safety, seniors, workplace. So that one we do offer quite a bit. We have a program for high school parents and for high school teachers called More Than Sad, and students as well. It's really for 14 to 18-year-olds, and it teaches teens or parents or educators to recognize the signs of mental health and how to get help. That is also a very popular program. If you have any connections to schools, please contact me and I will be happy. It is free to the school districts. That is usually the first question that's asked. How much does it cost? Nothing. So we'll be happy to bring it to you. We also have a program called It's Real. It's really for 11th graders on up. And this is more of a facilitated discussion with a documentary that discusses, it helps prepare those kids, the transitioning kids out of high school into college, and those college students about mental health issues that they may face during those transitions. So another really great program. We support several programs. We support a couple through Living Works called Safe Talk and Assist, as well as Gizmo for mental health, which is brand new. And this is really targeted, a curriculum targeted more towards the youth. So think elementary school, maybe even into middle school. And it's a great resource for kids to talk about mental health. What am I missing? Mental health first aid. We support mental health first aid as well. If anyone has not been to a mental health first aid training, I suggest that you sign up and go. That is not free. That is not one that AFSP delivers, but we support that program as well. What else can I say about programming? I am just really thankful to everybody on this screen right now, and to any of you who have ever presented any of our programs. We do offer a training for presenters. And we'll be offering another one coming up. It's not been scheduled yet, but if, programming, if that lights a fire in your soul, please contact us. We would be happy to talk to you about how to deliver our programs.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to everyone who has ever presented, as she said. And that also includes our partners who provide mental health first aid training or assist training, Safe Talk, any of those external programs that we support as well. Thank you. And lastly, Jennifer, I'm going to put you on the spot one last time. As our newest volunteer, having gone through this process, joining the DEI committee last year and serving on, as a volunteer, and then recently joining us on the board. Can you speak to that a little bit about what that process was, has been like as far as being an AFSP Michigan volunteer?
Yes, and it gives me great pleasure to speak about that. Like I explained, my intention was just to, connect students with AFSP. I didn't realize that I needed AFSP at the same time. Prior to connecting students, I participated in Talk Saves Lives, and Lisa was the facilitator and Ann was there, and I will always remember that. And it was very helpful for me. And when I was talking in those spaces, I start realizing, okay, you need to, I would start tapping more into my feelings of what took place with my godfather when I was 17. But when it comes to, I thought about it and I said, well, it's been over 30 years that this took place. I said, why did it take me so long to find that space? And I started talking to other people who are of different ethnicities and just different people, period. And I found the commonality is that we don't talk about suicide. And I said, well, why is that? And the interesting thing is, being a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, I said, you need to really look into that, what's taking place there. And so that's why it became my mission to try to figure out what was going on. My mission to the point where I said, look, I'm here. I'm like, Ann Corbin, I said, I'm here. What can I do? I want to help with this. And it continues to be my mission. And I like that I'm able to talk to more people about this. Now I find that there's more people who are reaching out and asking questions about it. I'm forever sending information or going back and forth. And I love that the dialogue is there, because when dialogue is taking place, that means that talk is saving lives. It's like, because if you don't have the dialogue, something's not quite right. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how you can have a loss that took place 40 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 hours ago. It still affects you the same way. When I lost my godfather, yes, it was devastating. It was extremely devastating, but I didn't realize how much more devastating it was, because he looked like the tap dancer Gregory Hines. He looked just like him. And so when Gregory Hines passed away, it was hard. And I said, oh, that was hard, but that was several years ago also. So I implore anyone, it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, whatever your ability or whatever it is, reach out, talk. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone, say something to someone. If you're a student, I have a 9-year-old, oh, let me not age him, a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old, and I constantly talk to them. I said, if you can't talk to mom, find someone else that you trust that you can talk to. And I know I keep going on and on, but it's like AFSP is just it's so personal to me right now that you can't get rid of me. That's all I have to say. Can't get rid of me. I'm here.
We're glad you're here. We're not getting rid of you. We're going to hold on tight. And I think it's an important thing that you bring up when it comes to volunteering or reaching out for help, and just in general, that we often don't talk about those long-term survivors of loss, people that have had a loss that it's been quite a long time. I myself lost my friend now 14 years ago, so I'm in that category as well. And like you said, sometimes things kind of come up. We know that grief is not linear. So it's, whenever you're ready and you want to get more involved, we want to have you. So Corbin, if people do want to become part of this family, which we truly are a family at AFSP Michigan, how would someone do that?
Yeah. So first, the best thing you can do is go to our website, afsp.org/Michigan. That's a great way to learn about what we do in general. And then there are some specific opportunities that we have here in Michigan in our chapter as well. Some of the current volunteer opportunities we have are some openings on our walk committees for the various walks that we have around the state. We'll be hosting 10 Out of the Darkness community walks this fall, and we're really hoping those will be in person. But we're always looking for more people to join those committees, particularly those committees that are shown there on your screen. We also could use volunteers who are interested in community engagement. This includes sort of philanthropy and grant work, reaching out to large donors who may want to contribute to AFSP, coordinating with our memorial funds donors, corporate and major gifts, and also working with people who host third-party fundraising events, and just community engagement in general. We can also use people who are interested in helping out with communications. This includes marketing, promotion, outreach opportunities, media relations. There's a lot that we can use some help with there as well. And finally, as Lisa mentioned, we're always looking for people who are interested in delivering our programs. We have a lot of different programs that we offer, and we're hoping to do more in terms of the number of programs we offer and where we can offer programs around the state. So if you're interested in leading those programs or speaking engagements and community outreach in that way, there's definitely opportunities for that as well. So again, you can visit our website at afsp.org/Michigan. You can fill out a volunteer application there and talk about in that application what sort of things you're interested in, and we'll be happy to bring you on board and get you involved.
Thank you, Corbin, and thank you again to all of our AFSP Michigan volunteers, especially to our 10 amazing humans that make up our AFSP Michigan board. For myself and on behalf of AFSP, we thank you. And you want to give some last minute thank yous, you guys, to the rest of everybody? Unmute, say thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank
guys.
you to all of our volunteers.
We so appreciate you.
Have a good night.